Hello everyone, this is a mail call. Received two beautiful shop cards. First one is from Justin at J Hot Model Works. Love his channel. His car that looks like a Lamborghini Miura and possibly a Ferrari. At first I thought it was Aston Martin, but I think it's a Ferrari, the blue one. But anyway, check him out. Great model builder. In the How I Got Started challenge, I was actually surprised that he just recently got back into the hobby because he builds as if he's been doing it his whole life. That's how good he is. And his videos always include kind of like a tutorial, so you might pick up some good tips. So go check out Justin at J Hart Model Works. I also have Poppy's RC and Models. I'm not that quite familiar with that year, but I don't know, maybe a 30s or 40s coupe. Like the little dice trophy. Check out Poppy's channel, RC and Models. He has some great footage of him off-roading in a RC, but he also builds a lot of trucks. And I think one of his recent builds is like a Kenworth K123, and I love cab overs. So go check these guys out if you haven't done so already. And thanks again for the kind and encouraging words in the back. So I'm going to have their channels in the description. Go check them out. Alright, so we are at the point of where the body has already been sprayed with primer. The hood sprayed with primer, and I wet sanded some of these imperfections. Hopefully they won't show up. Chassis is somewhat done. Did not do the exhaust yet. I had to scratch build the shock absorbers because for some reason they didn't come with shock. So right now it's currently chrome. Wondering if I should paint them yellow or just leave them in that dull chrome. I do have to touch up the holes in the wheel. Interior is done. Well, not really done, but I did put one seat in because I have to start working on the driver. Here's the engine. I loosely inserted the distributors into the holes that I drilled, but I have to cut them before I glue them because they're a little bit too long. I have my two knives, X-Acto and testers, my tester cutters, Xuron cutters, and my heavy duty cutter here. Because I'm going to be working on the figure, I have to reshape their leg. So for example, this one, I'm going to cut that below the knee, see if I can stretch it out so it can fit in the seat. And that's pretty much where I am right now. Alright, so I was able to cut up and change the angle of his arms and legs. So I glued them together. I hit some of the large gaps with some putty. Now he fits in the seat in a somewhat seated position. That was from his crouching position. Some of the things don't line up now, like in the back side, but that's fine. Underneath the leg, that's fine because you're not going to be able to see it. He's going to be seated like that. So just waiting for him to dry, and I want to paint him dark blue. So the dark blue should hide a lot of the imperfections. Alright, here we are. The body has a splash of paint on it. It's the dark gray. A little bit of orange peel. I'll see if I can get rid of that with some polishing compound. Of course, dirt and debris is my biggest enemy. I think there's like a little speck of dust there. See if I can sand it off. This is my first time working with resin, but apparently there's some pinholes created by air bubbles when they were casting the resin. Good thing that this just pops in with the tabs, because I heard that resin you actually have to use epoxy because model cement doesn't work on it. So like I said, this is the first time I'm using a resin. So we'll see how it goes. You can see the slight pinholes. I didn't realize I had to use body filler to fill it up, you know, similar to like a car. But there are little bits of pinhole, so now I'm torn. So here's one of the two hoods that came with it. So I may have to end up using it. So it has gray primer on it. I'll probably spray paint it flat black to simulate the fiberglass hood of the real car. So, I mean, it's not too bad, but there are pinholes on it. It's not as smooth as I thought it would be. Engine is wired, and the policeman is in the car. Did his hair, did his boots. So I now have to detail the badging. So that's where I am now. Alright, so I puttied up the pinholes in the hood, and I'll probably just spot prime it and then repaint it. Hopefully that should do the trick. Alright, so here's the status after I spray painted. The body looks pretty good. It has primer and 2 coats of dark gray on it. The first coat was thin, and then the second coat I made sure I laid it down nice and heavy, but not too heavy that it dripped. So it's got a nice thick coat of dark gray. I think there's a little bit of a dirt and debris, but I'll try to polish that off with the polishing cream. This is the TA hood that came with the kit. I have to put a second coat like in 2 days because there's a slight blemish there. I had to remove it. I think it was like a little strand of glue or something. And then here is the RT hood. I was able to get rid of some pinholes, but there's still some pinholes on top over here. So I'm not going to refill the holes because I did it already and they just seem to appear out of nowhere. So I think I have a solution of getting rid of those pinholes, or basically hiding them. So you'll see it in the last reveal how I'm going to hide it. Okay, later. Hello everyone, this is going to be an update mainly focusing on the figures, the NYPD police officer figures. So I apologize if I repeat certain things or topics because sometimes these bills span over a month or more, so I forget sometimes what I say in previous videos. So that's why sometimes I tend to repeat myself, but that's unintentional. So I'm finished with the figure. So I painted his facial features, dry brushing. The blue is kind of splotchy because the blue that I used, the dark navy blue, which would have been right for his uniform, the paint was starting to dry out on me, so I put a lot of paint in it, but anyway, the paint isn't great. So I'm glad that it's focusing right now. So I did the best I can. So gold tie clip. The figure is highly detailed. I mean, look at those features, the nose, the bone structure. Very detailed figure. The torso is one major part, but then the arms, legs, everything, I reposed them. I believe it's not resin because I was filing without a mask and it worked with regular model cement, so I guess it's not resin, but because if it did, I probably will develop emphysema because I did not put on a mask. But I mean, great figure. The plastic is very soft, so it's easy to cut, easy to reshape if you want to do that yourself. All the equipment on his belt, on his equipment belt, is all separate. So this is using the Revell flesh tone paint, which I highly recommend. And I think true of any type of paint, when it's brand new, I mean, it's very smooth when you put it on his face, because when the paint starts to thicken, you know, you don't want it to be splotchy. He's going to end up looking like he's got dead skin or like a walking zombie or something. So this is what he looks like. Slightly receding hairline, but he's still got more hair than me because I have a bald spot and he does not. I know it's marketed as NYPD, but basically you can make it any city or state that you want to, because no decals are provided, and it's just like a tri-shaped oval-like badge on patches on his arm. He does have sergeant stripes, and he's got typical shape of a police badge, but there are no decals. So I mean, as long as the shape matches your city and state, you can make it any city or state that you want to. So this is the finished product. I mean, I think it came out great. I mean, again, you know, the blue paint was on its way out, but did the best I can. I basically took a toothpick to do those fine yellow lines. The only thing missing is the slight white script of the words Police Department, City of New York, which I'm not going to be able to do. I'm afraid I might do more damage by putting little white specks to represent letters. But the paint, you know, it didn't flow as smoothly as I wanted to, but I guess that's my fault, because sometimes when you overbrush, it's not as smooth as if I hand brushed it. So that's his face. So what happened was, when I was putting together the instrument panel and the steering wheel and finishing up on the interior, buttoning it down, I decided last minute not to include him. He does fit, but just remember, it is a 1/24 scale figure, and this is a 1/24 scale car, so it kind of fits. I will not be able to put him in the driver's seat now because the steering wheel is set and it's a really tight fit. I mean, I could have put it in, but last minute I decided, well, you know, he's a police officer, so maybe I should use him in a police vehicle. Now, in my previous builds, I built the 1970, is it 76 Monaco? I forgot what year it was. And the 1970 Ford Interceptor. Those are 1/25 scale, so he is going to be slightly big, but in the van I think he will fit, because I looked at my videos of my two police cars and there's almost no room between the seat and the steering wheel, because these are not always that accurately detailed. So I think I might have room in the van, because the van, the steering column comes up from the floor, so I think there's room. I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze him through the window or not. If I don't, what I'm going to do is, instead of ripping the whole thing apart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, see, he kind of fits. He is a little too big for this 1/25 scale. But what I'm going to do is I am going to remove the separation over here, the separation fence, and then I'm going to try to slip him between the seats and slide him in that way. He should fit. I mean, his head might barely touch the top or the headliner of the van, but he should fit. That way, you know, it looks more appropriate. He's a police officer and he's driving the van. So that's what I'm going to do. But it's just funny. Everything matches up. NYPD, but... So I've decided not to use him in the Challenger, and I'm going slightly off tangent, and I'm going to stick him in the police van. So I just thought I would show you guys the process. So wish me luck. Hopefully I'll be able to slip him in. And then the other female figures, I'll see if I can slip it into my next police vehicle, which might be that Crown Vic by Lindbergh. I'll probably have to do the same, repose their arms and legs, but that's the figure. Okay. Alright, so after ripping everything apart, I chopped the bottom of the seat this much to lower the height, because his head was about to touch or is touching the top. So by lowering it, I should give him some clearance and he'll look a little bit more normal when he's sitting inside, so he doesn't look like a gigantic giant. Alright, I'll be back after I stick everything back in. Alright, everything's in. That's what it looks like. little headroom. This is what it looks like from the outside. Not bad. All right. All right, there's going to be a glimpse of all the sub-assemblies before I start buttoning everything down. So this is the body. It's ready to go. Glass is in. I just loosely fit the rear end and the front nose in. They're not glued yet because I have to mate it to the chassis before I stick those in. But glass is in with the rear view mirror. So that's the body. Interior. Everything's glued in. I'll finish the wiring and the plumbing once that's mated to the body, so I can connect stuff to the firewall. These are the two hoods. The TA hood is good to go. It's all in flat black. Got rid of the blemish. There's the RT hood. I know I said I wasn't gonna fill it in the pinholes, but I actually end up spending a lot of time on the hood. So everything's filled in. Hopefully these two will not show up when I spray my final coat. Okay, so that's it for now.